What defines an underrated gem? An underrated gem, or hidden gem depending on what you call it, according to Google, is where something, more commonly a piece of media, is really good but doesn't get the attention that you feel like it has. Now when it comes down to Thomas, many people will have different choices for episodes that they feel deserve that title of underrated. Most fingers are pointed to the CGI era, but to be honest, I'm not really a fan of that era, and all the episodes that I've revisited are just rehashes of already existing episodes. The classic era may have some, but I feel like every episode is loved equally, with some more than others, and then there's Buffer Bother. Which leaves us with the hit era, and before everyone starts saying, Respect for Gordon is the best episode of the hit era, so clearly it's the most underrated, what a lot of people don't realise is when a lot of people say something is underrated, it slowly starts to become overrated. And I feel like Respect for Gordon is slightly suffering from that. Don't get me wrong, I like the episode, but at the same time,
I'm tired of seeing it!
But after going through some episodes, I found one that I was completely blown away with not only how good it was, but also how no one has ever discussed about it. Which is what I'll be doing in this video, sort of similar to my buddy Yami Tay, where she takes a look at a random episode from the show. So without further ado, I present the most underrated episode of Thomas and Friends, and the episode in question is Series 11's Thomas and the Storyteller. Thomas and the Storyteller is the premiere episode of the 11th series, airing all the way back in 2007. Or the 9th episode if you're going off the production order. Now because this is a hit era episode, not a lot of people will remember what happened, so I'm going to summarise it for you. A famous storyteller is coming to Sodor to celebrate the opening of a new library, as well as writing a story about the island. The Fat Controller needs an engine to take her to the library, and who does he pick? Come on, guess. That's right, James.
Thank you, sir.
No, it's Thomas.
You must show the famous storyteller the special sights of Sodor, he boomed. Then she can make up a special story for the children.
Thomas arrives at the docks to collect the storyteller, to show her the sights of Sodor.
You must be Thomas the Tank Engine. Will you please show me the sights of Sodor?
Also, can I just say I love how Michael Brandon uses his natural speaking voice for the storyteller, further proving Michael Brandon really is a great Thomas narrator. So Thomas takes the storyteller around the island to places to write a story about.
Pirate's Cove is not far from here. I shall take you there first.
Oh my god! Thomas the Tank Engine is canon to the FNAF floor! Map Pack, get on it! Oh. Yeah, that's right. He's retiring. But hey, at least he has a good enough understanding about Thomas.
They're trains! Do your job! Transport passengers!
But on the way, he met James, who broke his traction rods.
My coupling rod has snapped, and I'm a guaranteed connection.
Wow! A guaranteed connection? You know, I find it really nice and weird hearing terms like that said in the hit era.
I have to go first, said Thomas excitedly. I am a guaranteed connection.
But this moment right here is what made this episode instantly click with me.
I'm sorry, Thomas puffed to the famous storyteller. I cannot take you to Pirate's Cove. I have to help my friend.
Instead of Thomas not helping James and just concentrate on showing the storyteller Pirate's Cove, and probably get killed by Foxy, this episode subverts your typical hit era expectations and has Thomas help James to the next station. After helping James, Thomas decides to take the storyteller to the ruined castle, but as he goes along his way, he sees Emily.
She was taking flour to the bakery, but her whistle had broken. It wasn't safe to work without it.
Faulty whistles callback? Damn, this episode is all about the railway realism. And just like James, Thomas abandons the trip to the ruined castle to help Emily to the flour mill. This very much feels like the Thomas we knew from the classic era. After helping Emily, Thomas tries again at showing the storyteller a special part of the island, Misty Valley being his choice. Probably because you can have a grand view of a crew member's cake, if you know what I mean. But on their way, there's a flooded piece of track where Percy tried to do a sequel to Percy's Promise. That we didn't ask for, but I'm all here for it. Thomas helps Percy, but in all his acts of kindness towards his friends, he didn't show the storyteller any sights at all, and it was nearly time for the grand opening of the library. At the library, Thomas apologizes to the Fat Controller for not doing what he was told to do, but the storyteller reassures Thomas that the journey they went on would make a great story. And goddamn, she was right, because holy crap, this was a great episode. Thomas is perfectly in character. The attention to detail was very present with the references to previous episodes and railway realism, and the usage of the 3 strikes formula was handled very well. Very similar to Percy and the oil painting from Series 9, and how it handled the 3 strikes. Usual bloke Luke can go through that episode much better than I can. But back to the episode. When I rewatched this episode a few months ago, I was genuinely astonished by how good this episode was and how slept on it was. And if I'm being honest, Series 11 itself starts out very strong, with an amazing opener, and then that's followed by Emily's Rubbish, Dream On, Dirty Work, where I recommend Stuart Studios 5's video, Hector the Horrid, and Gordon and the Engineer. And then you got Thomas and the Spaceship, which is But then next is Henry's Lucky Day, and I've lost all hope. So overall, Thomas and the Storyteller is definitely what I would call a true underrated gem from Thomas and Friends. I definitely recommend watching it yourself. I'm sure you'll get some fulfillment out of that episode, but please don't run it into the ground like Respect for Gordon, okay? Okay. Also, it's nice that they put a prop to good use after being a background character since Series 5. Wait, why would she be at Mrs. Kindly's daughter's wedding? Wait a minute!
My sister has rung to tell me she can't come to stay with me.
The Storyteller is Mrs. Kindly's sister! I've cracked the case!